In order to pitch and have great command, it is important that we work within two laws of pitching. The first law is, wherever the head goes, the body will follow. For example, if your head moves to the right, the body will lean to the right. The important principle to note as pertaining to pitching is, if your head is moving to the side while on the way to the plate, the body will follow the direction of your head. This may affect your control because the head is moving in a direction away from the target. Jason Schmidt and Josh Beckett are both known for having the combination of power and control. They will illustrate how their head moves toward home in a line, making it easier to maintain control of the baseball. As their head moves forward and toward their target, their body follows right behind it. To demonstrate the second law, we will use Randy Johnson and Johan Santana to give us two varying deliveries. The second law is, whatever plane the front shoulder travels, the opposite shoulder will travel on the same plane. Let's examine Randy Johnson's shoulders. Notice his front shoulder is moving horizontally across the screen, and his back shoulder is traveling on the same plane. If this occurs, the arm slot will be working further outside the strike zone. This can be a challenge for control, but it's great for deception. Johan Santana's front shoulder is moving on a downward plane. As the front shoulder drops down, the back shoulder will move up on the same plane, working closer within the strike zone. This makes it easier to control the ball within the strike zone. In the power segment, we discuss the backside as a primary source for power. In this segment, the front side will be the primary source to establish control. The front side can be determined by 7 different body parts located on the glove side of the pitcher: the head, the shoulder, the elbow, the glove, the hip, the knee, and the foot. You will be able to increase your strike-to-ball ratio if you can keep these 7 components close to or on the target line until foot strike. Now, let's look at some important aspects of control that our models demonstrate. As they have separated their hands and started their move toward home plate, notice some key components of the body are kept in control and are headed down the target line. When they get to foot touch, the head, the shoulder, the elbow, and the foot are in alignment. Working along the principle of the target line, it is important that we examine our posture at foot touch. Let's look closely at our two models. In both cases, their posture is in an upright position or stacked position. The term stacked is defined as the spinal vertebrae are stacked or in line on top of each other, and the head is in line with the spine. This position enables the pitcher to make a direct approach to the target to aid in both power and control as they deliver the baseball. If their posture is leaning to one side or the other, they will have to make a physical adjustment somewhere within the body to correct their movement toward the plate and toward the strike zone. Next, I will take them to their release point and examine their movements. I will keep the line from their previous slide intact, and I will place a rectangle on the outside profile of their bodies as a frame of reference. I will now move them forward toward home plate. As they both move home, watch how they are synchronized together and their movements mirror each other. In both cases, they move their bodies in line to home plate. As they near the release point, both pitchers move slightly off the center line to allow the arm to come through in line with the target. Their chests also move forward and down. As they get to the release, both bodies have stayed centered within the framework of their bodies. They have minimized any movement off of the target line, and they have efficiently utilized their bodies while delivering the pitch. I will now move to a side view to illustrate an important aspect of control. As pitchers, we are in an elevated position 10 inches above the hitter and must deliver the ball downhill to throw a ball in the strike zone. We will want to utilize the slope of the mound for power and control. We can do this by forward flexion of the body to begin our downhill angle. Notice how far in front of the knee both pitchers get their chests. By flexing our bodies forward, we can easily get the ball moving downhill toward the strike zone. This phase actually touches all three measures of power, control, and deception. By using the slope with gravity and momentum, we load the shoulder and engage the power aspect. When we flex our bodies forward, we are enacting the control phase by moving downhill. And when we release the ball far out in front and with a downward angle, we will use the deception portion of the three measures. Continuing on with the control aspect, I would like to illustrate a very important point in gaining control. I like to refer to it as pitching in a phone booth. I will use Randy Johnson in contrast with Jason Schmidt. I will take both pitchers to release and draw a rectangle from their front elbow to their hand. As we evaluate the sizes of both rectangles, see how much more narrower Jason Schmidt's is in comparison with Randy Johnson's. Moving them forward, we can see differing arm planes as they continue into their finish. Jason's is traveling on more of a downward plane, while Randy moves his arm more horizontally. From purely a control perspective, Jason Schmidt has a larger margin for error than Randy Johnson does. If Jason releases it a bit early or late, he will still stay within the framework of the strike zone. He may be high or low, but he's still within the strike zone. Oftentimes a hitter will swing at pitches high or low in the strike zone, but hitters will lay off the pitches that are inside or outside the strike zone because it never challenged a hitter's vision of their strike zone. It was never in the strike zone early enough or long enough to maintain the hitter's trust that it's going to stay in the strike zone. The narrower the box, the more it looks like a phone booth. If you can pitch in a phone booth, you will maintain the integrity of the strike zone with ease.